Hi, I'm Tim Van Milligan. This is the Apogee Rocketry Workshop. We get a lot of questions about how to put nose weight in a nose cone, especially high power nose cones. The high power nose cones are a little bit different than the typical ones you find on a small rocket. They're made out of polypropylene, which is a very waxy type of plastic, and it's very hard to get anything to stick to it, including paint. You can see on this rocket here, the paint is just chipping off because it doesn't want to stick to that waxy plastic. And we've covered how to paint nose cones in the Torrent construction videos. Basically, you have to scuff it up really good before you can paint it. But putting weight on the inside is another challenge because we can't scuff up the inside. So what we're going to do on this nose cone, I'm just going to put some steel BBs in the nose cone, and they need to be epoxied in there. But the epoxy, like the paint, isn't going to stick to the plastic. So we're going to use a little trick. And basically the trick is we're going to take a wooden dowel and we're going to pass it through both sides of the nose cone, and then the epoxy is going to stick to this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've already marked the location where I'm going to drill my hole. And I've done it on both sides, and I'm going to use the seam as the point because then I know it's straight across. And so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole. See if I can drill a nice hole here. Oh, that was pretty. That worked really good. And the one thing I didn't bring was an X-Acto knife. Get that off. Yeah, well, it will go through. And we'll do the same thing on this side. That one was much cleaner. Look at that. So it needs to come all the way through it. And you'll notice that it's sticking out. And when we're done, I got a little razor saw here, and we'll just cut it off and then sand it flat. Now to get the BBs into the hole, I'm also going to enlarge that hole there. Okay, so there's a hole. And I made a little plastic funnel, and you know how to make little funnels, so that I can pour my BBs in. And now I'm going to mix up some epoxy. So I'm just going to get some gloves on. And when you do epoxy, you want to find epoxy that's pretty liquidy so that it pours real easy. And this is a 1-to-1 mix. This side is a little thicker. And I'm going to need a bunch of epoxy because I want to make sure I'm coating all my BBs pretty good. Alright, I got a stir stick, and we're going to want to stir this for about 2 or 3 minutes. So we're going to pause here while I stir, because you want this really mixed up really good. Okay, I'm back, and while I was gone I also went and got a knife because I want to clean up this hole here, make it easier to pour in the BBs. The bigger the hole, the easier it's going to be. Okay, so you can see my hole there. Now I'm going to pour the BBs right into the epoxy because I want to make sure that the BBs get coated too. All right. Now you can also pour some loose ones in the front. They will get coated a little bit. All right. And then, when this is all mixed up, make sure you have plenty of napkins around. This is where it gets a little messy. The epoxy's going in first, of course. Got a little clog. You can also use, if space is at a premium, you can use lead shot, but it's not as environmentally friendly. These are just BBs that I get down at sporting goods stores for like a daisy rifle. Okay, and then you want to look down inside the hole here and just make sure your BBs are covering the post that goes through, because that's what's going to hold everything in there. And I can tell that I am, because it's leaking out the side here a little bit, but that's okay. When you got all your BBs in, you want to make sure that you prop it up so that everything stays down on this end. Now, epoxy is a little bit exothermic, which means that as it cures, it gives off heat, and you'll feel the heat. And if you have a lot of epoxy in there, it's going to generate a lot of heat, and it could soften the plastic of the nose cone. So what a lot of people will do is they'll just take this and then just dunk it in a bucket of water while the epoxy is curing. The epoxy will cure underwater if, you know, like if it's coming out the side here. But so they'll put that in water just to keep the heat from softening the plastic too much, because you don't want to deform your nose cone. So then what we'll do is we'll just let this dry. Any that oozes out here, like I said, it doesn't really stick very well, so we'll just let that harden, and it'll just peel right off. And then when we're done, we'll come back, like I said before, we'll take a razor saw, we'll cut off the dowel here, and then just take a sanding block and then just sand off till you get the right shape again. So if you have a styrene nose cone, you don't need to use the dowel, because the epoxy will stick directly to styrene, but it doesn't stick to polypropylene. So that's how you put nose weight in a nose cone. My name is Tim Van Milligan. This is the Apogee Rocketry Workshop. May the winds be light, may the skies be blue, and may all your rockets fly straight and true.